William Clouston's here from the SDP. William, very good morning to you.
Morning.
It's hard to disagree with that these young sort of voices, these young minds that have been twisted into kind of support for Hamas more than just support for Palestine, who are going to be marching around today in celebration, let's face it, of what happened 2 years ago. I mean, the paradigm shift is quite extraordinary because, I mean, you know, there was a demonstration outside the Israeli embassy on the night October 7th happened 2 years ago, but it was broadly anti-Israel. These marches are now anti-Jewish, it seems to me.
I think you're right. I think it's very sad.
Yeah.
And I think the Prime Minister has lost control of events and he's totally detached from reality.
Yeah.
He wrote with a piece in the Times that I read, he said, this is not who we are as a country.
Yeah, well, it is actually.
It is now, mate.
Yeah.
Sorry, it is now. And it's been caused by people like him that want to see this country as sort of open border charity shop.
Yeah.
If you run that sort of system, culture migrates, Mike.
Yeah.
It's not just groups that are connected to the Middle East. Obviously, culture itself migrates. And if you look at the universities, a lot of the people that are spouting this hate are sort of native British woke people. So, no, I'm sorry, Keir. This is what the country is like now. Get up.
Right. And it's what, in many ways, Tony Blair has kind of left as his legacy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because an awful lot of what goes on in our universities was set out by him. He was the one that made them into businesses. He was the one that sort of opened the doors, and at one point, I think, flooded the universities with foreign students in order to make a load of money. Right?
I mean, that's the dilemma for them. I mean, the universities have three sources of income only. It's government grant and a student debt, which is local. And those two categories are debt-based, so it's a Ponzi scheme, really. The only net contribution to the profits of universities that isn't debt-based is the foreign students, so they're addicted to it. Right. And if you go to any campus, it's not just the plate glass universities, the new ones, or anyone, the new and old. Yeah. They rely on this money. I don't think, actually, in this case, the foreign students element is really responsible for it. I think it's as much the sort of woke. It's the values of the progressives that are in the universities now. Matthew Syed did a brilliant piece, I thought, on Sunday in the Sunday Times, and he just asked some pro-Palestinian marchers, you know, what's it about? What do you think there are two sides to it? Do you think Hamas has any responsibility? And they became very aggressive straight away.
And abusive.
And the mask slipped. Yeah.
And they also said it's about the destruction of Israel. He said, how long does it go on for? And it wasn't going on for, you know, until Palestine becomes a proper country. No. It was until Israel's destroyed.
Yes, and then he asked a young lady who was probably, you know, white British but very progressive, what are your views about the rights of women in Gaza and Palestinian Authority? And, you know, she said, what do you mean? You know, and her reaction was just complete denial. Right. And she said, well, who says that women's rights are not prioritised? And he said, well, Amnesty International says. Yeah. You know, and she was completely flabbergasted because so they, you know, it's detached from reality.
Because that's the age we live in now, though, isn't it? You know, if you tell somebody something they don't like the sound of, they just say you're telling lies. You know, we don't believe you.
Yeah, well, objectively, that's just nonsense. It's like the old, you know, it's the old Rod Liddle used to talk about the, you know, the sort of gays for Palestine, queers for Palestine. You know, how long would you last? You know, he's always said that he wanted to organise a sort of, you know, Pride March in Rafah or something. You know, how long would you last? Yeah. It is absurd. But I'm sorry. I do think that the Prime Minister is detached from reality. He finds I want to be led by people that are in touch with how things are. It might not be brilliant, but at least you understand what the world is like. Right. Now, Starmer doesn't understand what the world is like. It's like a cry for help, that piece. This is not who we are as a country. Sorry, no, it really is now. Yeah. We're quite divided.
And I have to say, I mean, I take your point about you know, many of the people organising these protests are British people. But I also would say that you can't deny that an atmosphere and a kind of a view of what British values are will change if you import more and more people from foreign lands. I'm not saying it's anything to do with what colour they are or what religion they are, but if you bring loads of people in from other countries and you then try and say to them, you must have British values, they're going to go, why? Why should I? I don't have them.
No, you don't. I mean, culture migrates, all the evidence, all the academic evidence. If Starmer wants to spend a bit of time, if he's struggling to sleep at night, just read the papers on it. Yeah. Culture migrates. People don't, on arriving in a new place, particularly in the West, people don't say, well, I'm just going to shed everything. Yeah. I'm going to shed everything that made me who I am in my community. Particularly if millions of people come. Culture migrates, it changes the culture of your country. Yeah. And Labour need to wake up, Lib Dems and Greens, all these, perhaps they want it.
No, they do.
Really
Well, he says it.
it.
I mean, he told us, did he not, when he was talking about the flag, when he was saying before that he was reclaiming the flag at Labour Party conference, and everyone went, well, who are you reclaiming it from exactly? Nobody's stolen it. And then he said, you know, the great thing about the British flag is it's all about diversity. And everybody just kind of went, what? No, it isn't. No. It's not about diversity, it's about tradition. It's about what Britain stands for. It represents
the nations that compose our country.
And our history.
Yeah.
And all of that, you know, from the tip of, you know, Shetland down to, you know, Land's End. You know, that's Britain.
This is like a sort of, a writer for Unheard, Aris Roussenos, compared Starmer sitting in number 10 as the sort of last bastion of the sort of liberal progressive system they've created. This is the last world before some sort of tsunami happens politically and changes things. And it reminded me of that Egon Krenz fellow, you remember, in East Germany, the last ever communist leader. Because the world, increasingly, what he's saying, and your viewers can see it, what he's saying just doesn't match reality.
No.
He can go around saying diversity is strength and everything's fine, but in reality, in the streets, people have a different view.
And people are now making that view known more and more sort of vocally by having their own protests. I mean, let's get back to that, because one of the things that worries me about Shabana Mahmood and what she's been saying about, you know, let's set a framework. So, for example, if you're demonstrating in a particular place on a regular basis, we will put an end to that. Now, that tells me they're going to stop people protesting outside migrant hotels. They're going to stop people protesting in any way, shape or form about something they don't like. And they'll use that. And so while part of me says, put an end to these bloody pro-Palestine protests, part of me goes, hang on a minute, because that could lead somewhere very bad.
No, it will. My colleague, the leader of the SDP in Scotland, Craig Houston, has made this point because he's been to many protests in Scotland and throughout the country. He's been in Scotland, in Falkirk, places like that. New migrant hotels come and the public get a bit worried about it and he turns up. And I think this is the future, Mike. This is... Do you remember the world? You're old enough to remember a world where we had a common life, we had a common culture, and you didn't have the police arbitrating all over the place.
No.
If you have this division in society, this level of division, the police and the authorities will have to arbitrate it and police it constantly. And this is why you're getting people arrested for tweets, and this is why we're very divided. And this is the world they have created.
It really is terrible. I mean, looking around at the various stories in the papers today, I mean, this phone gang that's been smashed, I mean, you know, it does not escape my notice that the two people running it were from Afghanistan.
Yes,
and
interesting.
Most of the people working for it were illegal migrants in one way, shape or form, whether they be Bulgarians, whether they be Indians, whether they be riding around on mopeds and nicking the phones or sending them off to China. I mean, you know, it's almost unbelievable that this has been allowed to happen, that we've now become a kind of criminal enterprise.
It has.
As a nation.
And this is, again, the world they've created. And I read that New York politicians are now saying they're terrified of New York descending into the position of street crime that London has. I mean, who'd have thought? This is what you've created.
Used to be the murder capital of the world.
I know. And this is, you know, so and it also demonstrates the devastation. It's like many of the terrorist attacks have been implemented by asylum seekers and immigrants of various other kinds. But the these two Afghan gentlemen, what is it, 40,000 phones? Think about the misery.
I know.
Think about it's like a tidal wave.
One of them is mine.
Yeah, exactly. Could have been, and it ends up to getting sent to Hong Kong to be recycled. No, they know what they're doing. We used to be a peaceful society. Again, I think culture migrates. If you import lots of people from violent societies that have unrest, you will have problems. And it's so simple, but they don't seem to grasp it. And it's going on.
And also, somebody made the point last week after the attack in Manchester. And listed all of the attacks, which included Southport, where it was the son of immigrants who had come from a dangerous place who had actually carried out the attack. And that's an interesting statistic to me, because
very interesting.
Because what people seem to be forgetting in this left-wing myopia that they have about immigration and about culture, that you import people who have come from dangerous places, they're going to have a different view of the world when it comes to violence and when it comes to how they treat it.
Exactly, Mike. So the sort of Fotherington Thomas, hello clouds, hello sky, sort of progressive idea. They think everyone comes and then you get assimilation. And they all become, what they think, they hope, is that you import Afghanistan and Somalia and Eritrea, and it becomes like Holland, it becomes like Denmark. No, it doesn't. All the evidence, spend a bit of time. Assimilation is a myth. People do not assimilate in that way.
And you can go to Denmark now and find actually that it's not even happening there.
No.
Because they've got a massive problem with immigration, as have all Scandinavian countries.
They have, but Mette Frederiksen's a good government. She's got one of the best Social Democratic Party administrations in Europe. They've done the cultural turn and they're actually addressing it, unlike us. So, but let's not live by myths. This is just nonsense. I mean, you import your country. If you import a lot of people from Afghanistan or Somalia, your country becomes a little bit more like Afghanistan and a little bit more like Somalia. That's the way it is, I'm afraid.
That's just the way it is. This is from Els Bells in Shropshire. She says, I've got 3 kids, working class family, not wealthy by far. 3 of them have professional careers. They work hard as they should. They earn the life they want. If any one of them behaved like these lefty students, they would have got a thick ear. Strong parenting didn't hurt me. Pull yourselves together, Britain. Yeah. It's a good point.
And yet, the parents of many of these progressives at the universities would think the same way, I'm afraid. They would have very similar views very often. So it's everywhere.
That's the trouble.
That's the problem. And you saw this thing, I don't know if you covered it this morning, but you know, this appalling thing in Muswell Hill. You know, and what you see, because I saw the clip, what you see is a sense of entitlement in that person. No understanding that those ribbons are up there for a reason, to get hostages back. Innocent people have been taken. Nothing at all. She thought she was in the right. And spouts the usual stuff.
And interestingly, I was just reading out my Dan Hodges tweet from a bit earlier today, where he points out the government's position actually on Israel committing genocide is that it isn't committing genocide. And he's asking the question, why is Keir Starmer not saying that publicly? Why does no minister of the Crown say that publicly, in order to stop all these idiots like this woman from saying, I'm doing it because of the genocide? You know, and you see it all the time. They chant that Israel's committing genocide. Well, the government's position is that they're not.
The answer is probably he's worried about his voter base. That's he's again.
Well, that's
he's in
always his worry, isn't it?
Yes, that's what he's worried about. So he doesn't want to say it. He's trying to ride 2 horses.
It's the same reason on every single tweet that he's put out since Manchester, since the attack at the synagogue. He has not mentioned Islam once.
No. Well, they don't. You see, this is another thing. I'm sorry.
Far right. If it was a far right attack,
I'm sorry.
You know,
but you have to have I'm sorry. That's Gary Neville reasoning. That is what you've got there. They can't bring themselves to see what's in front of their face. Gary Neville spouts up the other day, as you've seen, and blames division on. At one point, he blamed it on Brexit.
At the end, he went, Brexit has ruined this country.
I know, and I'm thinking, well, hold on. You played football. I would ask you, Mike, when he was at Old Trafford, how many of those people, those football fans, voted Brexit? I bet you a majority did.
And how many of them were white middle-aged men who got very angry when he missed the ball? And
paying his
bill. He wasn't that great of a player either.
Well, he was a reasonable fullback, but I mean, no, it just shows you what years and years and years of being a multi-millionaire footballer will do to your brain.
And I see the builders where he told them to take the flag down. Not too happy either.
But this is why.
And they had a flag of Moldova flying.
I know, that's
and he left that one up.
That's fine. And they got another flag they didn't know where it was from. No, but this is the whole point. I'm afraid Gary doesn't understand what's going on. People didn't used to fly flags all over the place, and when they do, it's an alarm bell. For me, it's an alarm bell. People are crying out for recognition. That they wouldn't be doing it otherwise, and to fail to recognise what's happening is just.
They don't mind a trans flag, that's all right.
Yeah, of course.
An LGBTQ plus flag,
anything,
that's all right.
But not a British
NHS flag.
No, and particularly not an
Palestine flag.
Particularly not an English one.
Definitely not an English one. Unbelievable. William, good to see you. Thank you very much indeed. I've got a quick voice note from Wayne on the protests.
Mike, 2-tier Keir. When we had the far right, you will feel the full force of the law. Yeah, when we have the far left, the Palestinians, the real kind of lunatics in the room, it's, oh, please don't please, come on now, be civil. I mean, it's mental, Mike, absolutely mental.
It's true. The people that listen to this show have got the greatest take on the world, it seems to me. So much common sense. It's absolutely right. I never actually thought about it that way. I mean, he uses the words the full force of the law. He doesn't mean them. He's written it in the Times today that people who attack the police will face the full force of the law. But Wayne's right. He's begging them not to do it.
When he said be civil, it sounded very much like Peter Cook and Derek and Clive.
It did. It absolutely did. What's the worst job you've ever had?
That's right.
Prime Minister of Britain.
That's right.